Today, we're digging into Agile software development. And look, I know it's a term you've probably heard thrown around in meetings, but it's so much more than just a buzzword. It's really a philosophy that totally changed the game for how we build things, swapping out these slow, rigid plans for, well, rapid results. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been stuck on a project that felt, well, obsolete before it was even launched? You know the feeling. You start with this huge, perfect plan, but by the time you actually finish, the world has completely moved on. It's this super common, super frustrating problem, and it's the exact reason a revolution in software development had to happen. To get it, you've got to picture the 1990s. Building software back then was kind of like building a skyscraper. You'd spend months, sometimes even years, drawing up this incredibly detailed blueprint before a single brick was laid. The big problem, though, a business's needs can change in an afternoon. Software isn't a skyscraper. This old, heavyweight method just couldn't keep pace.
So you had this growing tension, right? This disconnect between slow-moving projects and a fast-moving world. It created this urgent, desperate need for something new, a need for speed. And this is really where the two worlds just collided. The old way was all about massive documents, strict plans, and one giant delivery way at the end of the road. But what businesses actually needed was, well, the complete opposite. They needed working code over endless reports, the ability to pivot in an instant, and getting value delivered in small, steady chunks. All this pressure finally boiled over. In 2001, a group of forward-thinking developers got together at a ski resort, of all places, and they hammered out a document that would change everything. They called it the Agile Manifesto, and it was this simple but radical new philosophy captured in just a handful of powerful ideas. And here it is. The manifesto laid out 4 really critical shifts in thinking. It says we should value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. We should value working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, and, this is a big one, responding to change over following a plan. Now that word over is key. It doesn't mean processes or plans are useless. It just means that things on the left are way more valuable when you're trying to keep up. So what does that actually look like in the real world? Well, it means trusting the brilliant people on your team, not just a dusty process binder. It means your measure of success is something that actually works, not how thick your status report is. It means the customer is your partner on this journey, not just an obstacle to get past. And maybe the biggest mental shift of all, it means you don't just tolerate change, you expect it, you welcome it. Okay, so the manifesto is the why, it's the big idea. But what about the how? How do you actually do this stuff? Well, that's where practical frameworks come in. We're going to look at 2 of the most popular ones, extreme programming and SCRUM. First up, we've got extreme programming, or XP. And yeah, the name kind of gives it away. It takes all those core Agile ideas and dials them up to 11, all in the name of technical excellence and really intense teamwork. Now, some of the practices in XP can sound a little weird at first, like you write the tests for a feature before you even write the code for it, and you have 2 developers working together at one computer. But it all has a purpose. The goal is to push out small, frequent updates and to integrate new code constantly. That way, you catch problems when they're tiny before they can ever grow into monsters. All right, and then there's SCRUM. This is the one you've most likely heard of. If you think of XP as being about those extreme technical practices, SCRUM is more of a framework for managing the work itself. It's all about organizing everything into these short, repeatable cycles that keep a project moving forward. The engine that drives SCRUM is called the sprint, and it's this really simple but powerful loop. Here's how it works. First, the team picks a chunk of work to do. Then, for a set amount of time, usually 2 to 4 weeks, they do nothing but focus on that work. They're shielded from all the outside noise by someone called a Scrum Master. At the end, they show off what they've built, and then, you guessed it, they do it all over again. It creates this amazing, predictable rhythm of delivery. So we have these 2 fundamentally different ways of thinking, right? The old, rigid, plan-first approach, and the new, flexible, agile approach. Let's put them right next to each other to really see how deep the differences go. And man, the differences are just night and day. The plan-driven world keeps everything in its own little box, assuming nothing's going to change. Agile just throws it all together because it knows things will change. But maybe the most important distinction is this. In the old world, the process is king. In the Agile world, the power is given back to the people who are actually doing the work.
Now, all this sounds pretty great, which brings us to a huge question. Is Agile always the right answer? I mean, why would anyone do it the old way? Well, as with most things in life, it depends. It's not quite a silver bullet. Agile really shines when you can get fast feedback from your customers, when you've got a small team working closely together, and when you know for a fact that the requirements are going to evolve. But if you're building a massive, complex system with teams all over the world, or maybe something that's safety critical and needs a ton of regulatory approval, well, that old school, plan-driven approach might still be the smarter bet. It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
And this is really where Agile can hit a wall. I mean, what works beautifully for a team of 8 people in one room can become a real headache for a company of 8,000. All of a sudden, you're up against layers of bureaucracy, old habits that die hard, and the simple reality that for some really huge projects, you just can't get away from doing more design work up front. So, to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with one final thought to chew on. Take a look at how you work, how your team works, no matter what it is you do. Is your whole process built around following a rigid, pre-made plan to the letter? Or is it built to be nimble, to respond and adapt to the messy, unpredictable changes of the real world? The answer to that question might just tell you everything you need to know.